earlier in our workflow, you created a lighten and darken layer where you could, as it said, you can lighten areas and darken areas. Now, with another technique called luminosity painting, we can both increase or decrease brightness and increase or decrease contrast. The idea depends on the mask that you choose and the color that you choose to paint with. So the first thing we need to do for this technique is to make a new layer, not an adjustment layer, just a new layer like this. I'm going to change my blending mode to soft light, and then I'm going to go to edit, fill, and I'm going to fill that with 50% gray. Now, if you don't see that 50% gray, there's a drop-down menu and you can choose it right from here. So I'm going to do that, okay, and you can see I have a gray layer now in here. Now what you're going to do, let me call this, we could call it a dodge burn layer, we can call it luminous painting, which to me is a little bit better. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go back, and here's the key. We'll go into our channels palette, and we've generated some luminous masks. And now what you need to do is decide, what do I want to do to this image? So here's what you do. If you want to increase brightness and increase contrast, you're going to paint with white using a lights luminous mask. If you want to increase brightness but decrease contrast, you're going to paint with white, but you're going to do it through a darks luminous mask. If you want to decrease brightness but increase contrast, you'll paint with black through a darks selection mask, luminous mask, sorry. And if you want to decrease brightness and decrease contrast, you'll paint with black, but you'll do this on a lights luminous mask. So let me demonstrate. I'll go in here and say I want to darken this area and also increase contrast. Okay, so I want to decrease brightness, but I want to increase contrast. So I'm going to paint with black, and I'm going to do that through a dark selection. So I'll go up here and I'll find my, oh, I lost my darks mask somewhere. So let me just go in here real fast and go to my actions, and I'm going to go here in darks, and let me make that darks mask right there. There it is. Okay, so I have this darks mask, so I'm going to load that as a selection. I'm going to do Command D, so I hide those marching ants. Take off there. I'll go back to my RGB. I'll go back to my layers, and oops, I don't want to do that. I have my luminous mask here, and now because that's selected, I'm going to paint with black, because again I want to decrease the brightness but I want to increase the contrast. So I'm going to drop this down a little bit, and I'll just paint on that area right here. So you see it's making it darker, but it's also really kind of keen on making these areas darker, these areas a little lighter, so it's increasing the contrast in that area. If I want to increase brightness and increase contrast, say I just want to do something up in here, okay? So what I'll do is, again, I'll go back, and now I'm going to do that through a lights selection mask. So I'm going to go in here, and there's my light selection, and I'm going to load that as a selection, okay, like so. I'm going to Command D to deselect that, go back here, and now I'm going to paint with white in an area that I want. So I'm going to go back, I need to make sure I go in there. There we go. So now I'll paint with white, so I'll move my foreground background colors to white. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. And I'll go in here and I'll just paint in here like so. And you can see now I'm not only increasing, I'm making it darker, okay, I'm making it brighter, but I'm increasing the contrast in there as well, like so. Yeah, turn that off and on so you can see that change there. So again, it allows us a little more flexibility and a little more control over the image. So this is a great technique. It's called luminosity painting or luminance painting.